Oh, Elena, I don't know exactly how it is organized, this round table. So, if everybody has to present something, or may I ask question and pose question to the audience in the broad sense?
What you want, Giovanni?
No, I don't know exactly how is the whole round table organized. So, is there a presentation that everybody make comments on this presentation, or is there any different way to present?
Yes, Giovanni. Now the floor will from Airina
Okay.
Volungevicene from the Lithuanian University. I would like now to introduce her. I think that the best for us is that each invited speakers give his or her
Okay.
lecture, and at the end we have a question time for a final conclusion, to get all together final conclusion. The floor is for Airina Volungevicene. I would like to introduce her. Airina is the president of Lithuanian e-learning society, is the director of Innovative Study Department of our university, and Vice President of EDEN, that is the European Distance and E-Learning Network. Airina is involved in several projects for virtual Europe, and it is my pleasure to ask her to share with us her experience in this field. We and Airina are together in some European experience, an intensive Erasmus program at the Kaunas University during June, and a virtual seminar held in the framework of VM Collab, that is a European project, Virtual Mobility Collaboratory, just finished on 4 of December. Airina, please, to you the floor. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Elena. I was really preparing for this session, trying to keep your time, and I know that we have more presenters here, so maybe I will be able to present in 15-20 minutes. If you need more time for discussion, please write in the chat and I will be even briefer, because I see that there are some technical issues that we should probably proceed with presentations. So dear colleagues, first of all, I'm very happy to be among you, and I'm happy that not always we need projects and even collaboration to work continuously, but some projects start, some projects end, and we still keep in touch with Wim and Elena, and I hope all of you in this period, because it's important for our professional development before we come to our institutions, universities and associations to share our knowledge adequately. So today I was prepared to speak about 3 innovations that radically changed the landscape, but I think we started already this discussion. I think Wim started already speaking on them. So maybe I will find some other perspectives, but I will try to be brief in these cases. As you know, the new communication from European Commission is on opening up education. It is interesting to notice that some organizations take it for granted, and say that from now on we have to develop everything as much open as possible. Of course, there are different already existing experiences, and for example, we all know the discussions going on from maybe earlier, but as much as I am involved is from 2007. From UNESCO, we know it's the Congress that happened was 2002. And these questions that are posted here on this slide have always been very hot questions. I still am not sure why, all institutions should go and directly develop OER, but at least part of development of OER is very, very tightly related with the management of the institution, with the quality approach of studies, because transparency and collaboration on development of OER would be crucial, of course, for taking our curriculum to another level. Today, I'm currently, in fact, I'm here now at Vilnius University that provided these premises for me to be online with you, where another conference takes place organized by the Ministry of Education and Sciences, and they discuss it very intensively. What does it mean, opening up education, and also to what extent we should open it up. So I'm very happy that this discussion takes place. And it is related very directly with the uptake of ICT, with reaching lifelong learning audiences in this mobility era, and also it is directly related with virtual mobility. In fact, we don't say that curriculum should be open, but we say that opening up education is also opening up resources and possibilities. Of course, sustainability models are always behind, and sometimes we realize them, but sometimes we don't realize them, how important it is. And also sometimes we start marketing things that we do not perceive consciously. And we market other organizations, other ideas, or other associations, but we do not perceive it very actually what is being done, and we invest a lot in this. So one of this is, of course, Creative Commons Association that was born not in Europe. However, it helped us to understand that we have the right to develop resources and to decide to which extent they can be open. It means, I think it means the first or maybe a couple of steps towards our future universities. So, of course, I agree when we emphasize this, that there won't be probably traditional universities left as they were before. Otherwise, I don't understand, I don't perceive how traditionally in the classroom we would be able still to manage education and to have students there, unless it's, you know, by the fireplace after we browse internet and get OER resources. So it is the step forward to think. When we speak about OER, we speak about opening up some resources, we can say learning resources, learning objects, we can say classrooms, we can say curriculum, we can say study programs, but up to which extent we want to open them and what to do with it. So this is the model, in fact, that has to be discussed now. So I appreciate very much the title of this new program in Europe, Opening Up Education, not Open Education for All, for example, or something similar. And I think it is a quite responsible choice. Another issue is collective knowledge. I called it collective knowledge in the slide, but I showed to you a OER Commons Again portal, not to market it, but to show examples how people involved in the process. In this process of gathering, developing repositories of open educational resources, a lot of benefits are evident, like, for example, marketing possibilities for universities, for teachers, to post material and to see how users treat what we post, how popular it is, what is the quality of our small pieces of content that we can contribute to other repositories. However, at the same time, we should see risks and potentials of using these repositories. So again, it depends how much we are ready to contribute to collective knowledge development and how ready we are to use it. ourselves, because somebody initiated this, and we always have to think why. What is the benefit? What is the model of the idea, of the business idea that is behind, and also how we can benefit from the same idea and have this on the documents at our universities. So MOOCs is on the agenda. I don't like this discussion, but it is inevitable, and therefore I decided to use Sir John Daniel's citations from a European Forum of Innovation Forum organized by, in fact, SIe-L in Barcelona. And here is the address of his presentation. He was probably quite categorical about this idea. However, what I liked is that there are positive and negative aspects, good news and bad news, of course, like from every phenomenon. And I won't stop on this slide, but what I liked from Wikipedia is this hypercycle. You know, probably all of us have different treatment, very individual approach to what is going on, because our approach is usually formed from our experience, on the basis of our attitudes, of course, on the basis of our institutional approach, where we all work, and sometimes we agree. It depends upon what, how much we agree, to what extent we agree with our institutional context and position, and our individuals and our professional networks that we belong. So my personal approach to this graph is that, yes, there is a high peak. It is in relationship with MOOC phenomenon. I think this peak goes down, because now, as we discussed in SCOP at the end of November, we agree that there is a discussion, and 1/3 of universities seem to support MOOC initiative, 1/3 no, but is sustained from declaring that we have MOOC, and 1/3 maybe doesn't know or doesn't like this idea. These statistics were just announced in the public. I haven't seen them written, but I agree that now it should go to disillusionment. However, plateau of productivity for me is not any kind of MOOC anymore. For me, personally, it is the level that during these waves and very emotional discussions, we should get ready to go with our universities. So universities will remain at this level, those universities who will take into consideration this phenomena, who will think about possible outcomes out of this, and will learn the lessons that are brought by this phenomenon. Sorry, I use my keyboard forgetting about this navigation. So, International Council for Distance Education had a think tank that was working on 3 documents, mine to MOOCs, and the draft issues and recommendations are available on the ICDE website. So all these documents are in full for open reading. But the research, in fact, is very similar to what Wim presented in Innovative Pedagogies. So I think if we go through these documents, we understand that MOOCs have put the learner into the center of learning cycle, and that the university just has to adapt. But before this, it has to take decisions on certain items, either based on research, which is very natural for academic community, or go spontaneously to one or another decision. Again, this is my personal point of view. I refer to criteria groups that were developed in one of European projects. I think that when we introduce innovation, which is ICT in fact, and innovative learning formats into an organization, we have to think about the 7 groups of group criteria. Strategy and management, how much it is supported, where is in the strategy, and what are the means for introducing these innovations. About infrastructural items, of course, these are necessary items. Curriculum, because we have to prepare. What is curriculum for us? How much of it will be open? How we will call it? Maybe we have another title, which is our title, our university title. Continuous professional skill that we had just had discussion about. Support system that needs to be running 24 hours per day and 7 days per week. And yes, the response might not be simultaneous because we won't have as many staff as needed for this. But automatic processes should also run at the institution. Quality assurance system, of course, and marketing and business model. So, sorry for this Lithuanian slide, I just realized that I sent out one of it. I inserted here just a couple of universities that I knew here and some others that work. This slide is on virtual mobility, which is the third phenomenon. And what do we get out of it? In physical mobility, we have usually two institutions collaborating. What I love about virtual mobility is that, in fact, it implements in your fourth statement on intergenerational, even global, participation of all lifelong learners. And we have here teachers in student virtual mobility that we just had in VM Collab pilot. We have students in virtual mobility. We have only teacher virtual mobility, for example, in sessions like this. And other very, very, very different and complex forms. So yes, in physical mobility, we have this way collaboration. While in virtual mobility, we can have a very, very rich scenario. And for me, it is probably the most motivating thing. It is enhancing, enhancing in a very concrete and real tone. So I think this is the same effect like MOOCs have, or other types of collaborative activities have, or even richer. Another thing which is definitely richer is that when we have recognition system working, I hope really soon, I don't know when, because up to now we don't have recognition of virtual mobility. Maybe we already have some drafts, maybe we have pilots, but we don't have these students in our records, academic records, when they participate virtually. But I think in the coming years, we won't keep these students at our universities. They will be virtually somewhere else. So virtual mobility would help us to maintain these students, to ensure resources for them, to travel virtually, besides physical mobility, not replacing physical mobility. And then I think we will have more collaborative processes. To save time, I'm not going to list 3 slides. One is how virtual mobility is positive for higher education institutions. You can only see bolded text, and I think you agree with it. The second slide is virtual mobility impact for teachers. It's a huge impact, and I agree with the question raised before. What is the motivation? What is the incentive for teachers to be always at the peak of this wave? Because this is the peak of the wave so far. And of course, virtual mobility benefits for students. Maybe students should have been first, but we know that without an institutional policy, we wouldn't have these possibilities created. So I think most important is enhanced employability, because I already could provide certain examples where virtual mobility helped very directly for students to get further employability. I would like to mention TCAM project very briefly, where 6 universities were collaborating on 6 ECTS curriculum development and virtual mobility implementation. It was teacher and student virtual mobility. I won't go into details. I also would like to say that we are doing this in Erasmus IP School Network at VYTAUTAS Magnus University, and we had Elena as our guest, and we started it for the 2nd time, in fact, but very active this time. And I need to mention now the current issue is on VM Collab project. So VM Collab project means a lot, because it establishes collaborative support for those who want to get involved. So in this aspect, I would like to mention Virtual for Me. Maybe, Anna, it will be in your presentation, so sorry for this, I won't speak a lot. But this is a perfect example. You wouldn't mention maybe, but for me it's a perfect example because it has testimonies. So people who participated, they have their voice saying. I'm sure Wim has also more of this, but I really like this page. And we had a pilot which was called Open Educational Resources. And this is an example of your 4th statement. Because the group was really maybe even 3 minutes. The group was even, not even intergenerational, international, but also you see occupation and positions were very different at organizations. And I like it when professors or teachers can learn together with students. So to go quickly further, I need to mention the consortium. So you see Granada, University of Granada, FQL, Catholic University of Leuven, and then University of Pavia in Jyväskylä and VYTAUTAS Magnus University were teaching or preparing curriculum. And then these were pilot participants, so students, e-learning staff members, and the PhD students, the bachelors, and some teachers who studied, who were forming international groups. So far, as I mentioned, we have only certificate recognition, but I'm very happy because at least all participants sign it. And of course, we used a very similar tool for synchronous sessions, but we had feedback which said that participants were active, involved, had used different channels, and what we have now is one more piece of experience, a lot of lessons learned. And we have testimonies, and we have feedback, and what is most important for me, trusted networks. Because we know we can trust on these people. I show here other associations, and what I need to say is that I'm very happy to work with Italy, of course with Belgium as well, but with Italy it has always been the pleasure to work together. And I want to propose that Lithuanian National E-Learning Association could have synchronous meetings once at least per year with Italian Association to discuss the problems and issues raised. And it would be my pleasure to organize this on our side if Italy has similar needs. So thank you very much. I now already stop my presentation, and maybe we have a chance to discuss further on.
Thank you very much, Irina, for your presentation. I have some questions annotated here for you. I would like before to listen from the participants if they have a question too, so I postpone maybe my question afterward. Anna, Giovanni, Wim, have you a question for Irina?
Maybe later after the presentation of everybody.
Okay. Wim, do you want to make one?
I do have one specific question. question, Airina. It was in the beginning of your presentation that you were referring to open educational resources and talking, I think it was Vygotsky that mentioned the emotional ownership. And I think that this is like a nice concept if we talk about learning technologies, just to make sure that these technologies are not considered as not emotional aspects. But maybe you can give us some quick definition of what is meant by that emotional ownership. What does it mean, and what is the relation with more general aspects of technology and education?
Yes, I picked this cross-referenced concept, not from original, but from Jan Pawlowski from University of Jyväskylä, because he starts emphasizing this as cross-reference towards development of open educational resources. And I read in his paper, therefore I cited him, and you saw the recent year, he claims that if open educational resources were developed by the group of people from the phase of development of the idea into the phase when we have open educational resource, then the uptake of open educational resources would be faster, and more people could be reusing, reshaping, repurposing them. So this is a specific reference to open educational resource development as divided into phases. But it does not, I did not mean here in this presentation emotional ownership to other forms of curriculum design.
Yeah. Okay. So it's more like the human factor that is included in one or another way, and not just one individual human being, but a group of people working together. And I think in this sense it might be applicable to other aspects of technology, the use of technology in teaching and learning, I think. But it was just striking to me that this was mentioned in relation to open educational resources, and I wanted to learn a little bit more about it. But that's fine. Thank you.
I would agree with you, and I would say that even we can have examples from virtual mobility, because like the pilot in the MCollab project that I referred to, if we treat this course as our emotional ownership of the group of people who developed it, I'm sure it would be used afterwards on the basis of the model, which is learning method, learning activity. Then we would distribute it, or would redevelop it, and would use it as our own instead of somebody else, and would take this practice for further development.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Airina. Sorry. Okay. Thank you very much, Airina, for your presentation. Only two very short and rapid comments from my side. I particularly agree with your definition for the fact that about your comments about MOOC, that we are finding the way to do it in each our university. I particularly agree with this, and particularly agree with the fact that the MOOC has the role to be a very important switch, a very important, I can say, an interrupter, a way to start and to put the learner at the center of the process. I don't know if the MOOC will be a hype or will be a sustainable model that will stay in the educational system of the world, but the fact is that they represented a very important point of reflection for all of us about to share resource, to help people to study together, and to share the possibility and opportunity to study to everyone. So, particularly agree with your comments.